25 minutes before 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. We are getting to know our next guest a little bit, and I think we're going to get along. Bob Kennedy is in the studio, and he is going to talk about real estate. He's a real estate broker. He's the owner of Prudential Home Team Realty. He's the owner of Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, which I think is what we're going to focus on today. He's currently on the board of directors for the Ocala, Marion County Multiple Listing Service, and he holds certifications in short sales, foreclosures, and sales of long-term leases. Plus, he's a Jersey boy. You just told me so.
Hold that against me.
No, we'll hold it against you. Do you know, I had good morning, Bob. Nice to meet you, by the way.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for having me.
We hit it off right from the go.
That's right.
That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Do you know, my mom's house had to be sold because she passed away, and I had no clue what to do. It was, just long story short, a realtor that saved my life because I had no idea what to do. I didn't know how to do it. So one of your colleagues took me by the hand and basically made it real easy. And
those stories are the norm. Sometimes you get stories that don't always turn out that way, but usually, I mean, we like to think we're in a professional business and we provide an important service. So those kinds of situations are never easy.
Yeah.
And to come out of it with that kind of a comment's good for our industry for sure.
So you moved from Jersey. Mm-hmm. Were you a realtor in New Jersey?
Yeah, I started in real estate so many years ago that it was in the 1980s, and interest rates were, not 4%. They were like 17 and 18 and 19%.
It's a big difference, right?
So I've seen quite a lot go on in the industry over the years.
Does this part of the country, this part of Florida, look very attractive to somebody retiring in that part? And like people in New York, New Jersey, it seems like they retire here a lot, buy a house based on the money they got from the house they sold, and end up with more cash than they ever had in their lives because that house up there was worth a lot more than the one they bought here.
You hit it right on the head. Marion County, even into the villages, is an incredibly great value compared to pricing up there. I mean, people coming down from your old neck of the woods, places where I lived, it's nothing to spend $7,000 to $12,000 a year just in property taxes.
Yes.
And you come down here and you get a brand new home. I live in an older home which is like 50 years old, but up there, a 75-year-old home is not an old home. So you come down here, you get brand new construction, and of course you have the lifestyle, but just pricing is very competitive down here compared to most places, not only across the country but especially in Florida. That's what drove the market to begin with. Then when prices got out of control and then we kind of crashed, people were like, well, Marion County's really expensive. Well, it's not expensive anymore.
Not expensive anymore. And even through the worst of times, it still looked good to those moving here from elsewhere?
It did. I mean, but, for a while, people just couldn't move.
We were stuck. And you especially couldn't move out of here. It was harder to move out of here than it was to move here, wasn't it?
Well, of course, we had so many homes were upside down. The crash came quick, and people woke up one day and they were underwater, and it took a long time to work through it.
I want to get to the details about Berkshire Hathaway, but I wanted to ask you something. Do you think, having gone through that as a professional, that because prior to that, there were all these overnight commercials where you would buy these CD packages and you could be an overnight real estate wizard, right? Mm-hmm. Do you think it kind of, what's the word when they're trying to cut down the number of sheep in a herd? Do you think it culled the herd a little bit so that only the real professionals stuck around?
Yes, the answer is yes, and it really got so bad that a lot of really good people got out of the business.
Got out of it too?
Because it was so difficult for a period of time. The transactions were difficult. The emotions were difficult in dealing with, when you sit down with somebody and they've put everything, they did all the right things and were getting hammered for it. That's tough. And a lot of good people got out of the business. And certainly the people that, whatever's hot, people are going to jump into, but those people are long gone.
So were you smarter, luckier? Did you do something different?
I did kind of what I've always done. My philosophy is kind of simple. I never think I'm the smartest guy in the room, but nobody's going to outwork me. And
You are now. You're the smartest guy in the room right now.
but there's you just keep it. There's nothing's, you don't make money easy in anything, I don't believe, but this was a business that you really had to grind through for a period of time.
So when you set it up, did you think, okay, I want to have a mission statement? How far back do you go?
In real estate in general?
Yeah, both in real estate in general plus around here.
Well, I'm just gonna
take the coat off.
You guys making me sweat.
Okay.
It does get a little warm in here. The air conditioning.
It's like the dancing priests. Did you see the tap dancing priests? When they decided to get serious about that tap dancing, they took their coats off.
Yeah.
Well, I got started in real estate a long time ago. When I first got out of school, I was in New Jersey, and I started out in commercial and industrial properties. And I did that till the early 90s. I opened my own business in the late 80s, and then came down to Florida. Got involved with some home building and with a family member, and that went so well that I got out of real estate for a little bit.
Oh, really?
Family business stuff, and then I got back in and as an agent and bought the Prudential business from Bill Browders. A lot of people know him in town. Bought that in 2007, and just kind of worked it through the whole recession, and now we're coming out the other end, and we have the opportunity to launch the Berkshire Hathaway brand here.
All right.
Do the builders themselves sell right to the public, or do you, as a real estate person, help them sell that to the public?
The builders will, almost every builder will work with real estate agents. A lot of them have their own in-house sales teams, like, for instance, a Pulte on Top of the World, places like that. But they'll all work with, they all co-op, they call it, with real estate agents, because they know we're bringing in people from all over the place.
Is it Berkshire or Berkshire?
I say Berkshire.
That's what I say. On the commercial, it says it both ways. I don't know if you noticed.
Yeah, it's... we could say a lot worse.
So Robin and I do music, and one of the things for us to be making any difference as small-time musicians is to have a niche. If you just say, I do everything, then nobody comes to you. Do you guys have to have a niche in real estate?
Well, within the office, agents do different things. I mean, we're primarily residential.
Okay.
And like my background's commercial, but now I because running an office, you don't have time to do a lot of different things. But we're mostly residential, but we do everything within residential. We can do farms, we can do land, we can do first-time home buyers, REOs, 55 plus, Some agents do everything. Some agents specialize in a few things.
When a person wants to buy land and build, but they want to live on that property while their house is being built, how do you advise them where to put like a mobile home so they can live right there and supervise the building? Or do you go against that and just want them to build the on-site building? Is it better for property?
Well, if somebody wants, a lot of places you can't live on site while they're building their home.
Oh, okay.
Like if you're in an R1, they're going to build your house and you can come visit and pay attention. But if you're going to be building, if you bought some acreage and you're in agricultural zoning, there's room for you to set up shop like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So is the difference between the rural and the urban residential real estate as different here as it is in the Northeast? It seems like here everybody has a lot more land, but really not in the city. Even in Ocala, most people have normal, what is it, a quarter acre?
Quarter acre, third acre. It just depends on, some of the older subdivisions, you have an acre and a half.
Oh, really? Even in town?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You could find some places that, but, it depends. There's always been a lot of land here, so you're able to have a little bit bigger properties,
So do you work, let's see, the gamut of the clientele? Is it the kid who's going to buy his first house as opposed to the person who's on their 15th house?
We do it all.
Yeah.
I mean, one real interesting thing that's been happening this year is that my kids are grown. And so that means that they're starting to buy houses.
Oh, yes.
And
yes.
so this year it's been a lot of fun. I helped my son buy his first house.
Oh, nice.
He bought it in conjunction with a buddy of his. Some of their friends have bought their first house that we've helped them with. And it's really interesting because, I'm old and broken down now, but when you work with somebody buying their first house, it brings back all those memories and what it was like, the excitement and the fun and the anxiety that goes with that purchase.
Mm-hmm. Did they buy them as residences or to rent out?
To live in.
Okay.
To live in.
All right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And is that something we could do? I mean, could I come to you and say, look, I have a house, I want to buy one and rent it out. Could you take me by the hand? And
We can. We can and we do. And, the first rule of investment real estate is if you want to be a landlord, you better have a pretty thick skin.
Thick skin?
Yeah. It's a business. If you're doing it from that standpoint, it's a business.
I couldn't do that. You mean kick somebody out if they don't pay? That kind of thing?
Well, luckily we do property management. So in those unfortunate situations, we do it. But being a landlord is like, you're basically running a business. You're making an investment. You're expecting a return. There's going to be good. There's going to be bad, and you have to ride it out. It's not, it's not easy.
Do you help talk to people about the down payment on a house? Because there are different programs for different levels.
We do, and part of buying a house is really one of the most personal decisions people will make. Everybody talks about, hey, it's the biggest financial, and that's true, but it's very personal. And you start to learn a lot when most time a real estate agent is going to become pretty close to the people that they're working with when they're buying a home. So we'll talk about different programs, but we don't get into the financing. We will turn them over to qualified mortgage people to really help them understand what their best situation would be. Because, if you're a VA, if you're a returning vet, you have a 100% down payment program on the VA loans. FHA is loosening up some of their lending standards. It helps people get in with 3.5% down. Some people are better off with a 15-year mortgage than a 30-year mortgage. So those things all come into play, but mainly that falls under the realm of the mortgage people.
Bob Kennedy is our guest, and Berkshire Hathaway Home Services is the real estate agency. Do I call it agency?
Real estate brand.
Brand that Bob is here to talk about. So how is that different from what you were doing before? That's what I'm not sure about.
Okay, that's a great question. Prudential has been in the real estate business probably since the early 90s. They bought it out from Merrill Lynch. And a couple years ago, they made the decision that they didn't want to be in real estate anymore. They wanted to go back to their core business of insurance and financial services. So it's a great name. It's a great brand. So as franchisees, we're like, okay, now what?
Yeah.
And we had serious, not just me, but anybody that had the franchise is like, okay, well, what's gonna happen next? And there were discussions, and about a year and a half ago, Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway reached a deal to purchase the Prudential Real Estate Network. So everybody was very, very excited. Turns out he had been a Prudential franchisee through some of his other holdings, and saw an opportunity, and so we're okay, now he's going to buy it, so what does that mean? Months go by, the discussions go on, and it turns out they're going to allow us to use the Berkshire Hathaway name.
Oh.
Wow.
That is big news.
That was big news. So in the past year, we've now been rolling out Berkshire Hathaway companies.
I got you. Okay.
So we started, the first companies came on board just about a year ago. I think it was in October of last year. And we have over 1,000 offices and over 30,000 agents throughout the country already.
Is that right? Wow.
In 1 year, the Harris poll, which is a big real estate deal, 1 year, Berkshire Hathaway is the brand of the year.
Is that right? Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And how has it affected us in Marion County?
Well, we begin on Thursday. Thursday is our launch. It's a big week.
I see. Okay.
And
okay.
what's happened is the buzz has been very positive. And one of the things that I think is great is the name Berkshire Hathaway has just tremendous integrity attached to it, everything that you think of with a Warren Buffett and all that. And it's great for Marion County. It's great for our area to have a name like that associated with what's going on here. It shows that there's investment in this area. It shows a great positive for our entire community, not the real estate world.
Wow.
To locate a business like that here, you had to have done a lot of background check on the area to see if there were lenders and mortgage people available. Did the Taylor Bean Whitaker fiasco with them closing and the head guy going to jail, did that hinder your business at all?
Well, it hindered when that happened. That was when the wheels came off the real estate market and the economy in general. So no matter who you are in real estate in Marion County, we were all, we were just bucking the economic conditions. Farkas in and of himself, that group they were just the poster child of everything that was wrong with the real estate industry.
See.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Very insightful.
But it sounds like from what you've told us that your philosophy and maybe the Berkshire Hathaway philosophy, it's kind of like everything else that has integrity. It sticks around in spite of what else might be going on around it.
Well, we were very proud of what we accomplished with the Prudential brand. We have a good company. We have a lot of really good people. And we think that's just going to continue with Berkshire because the kind of the MO with the way you hear, and I'm no expert on Warren Buffett, but basically he's a guy that has a great management team in place when he buys a company and says, hey, here's the money, go build that brand and go build that company. And he's made a conscious decision along with the people that run that corporation that, hey, we are going to make a consumer brand out of Berkshire Hathaway. And from a real estate standpoint, it is just the response nationally has just been great. People just gravitate towards the name. It's a believable name. They know it's what it stands for, and we are really excited to represent it here.
So they kick off on Thursday.
We kick off on Thursday. It's we do our ribbon cutting on 1 o'clock.
Okay.
At our offices on East Fort King Street.
Okay.
And then we will do our launch party that night. We have a big invitation-only party at Mesa de Note.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they're gonna give us the place for the evening, so that should be a lot of fun. And then Saturday we're doing an open house from 11 to 1. That's gonna be done by a Big Country Radio. They're gonna do their broadcast there and all that, and we'll have food, and they'll be giving away prizes and just kind of an intro to what's going on.
So let's see if I can put you on the spot a little bit. October 30th, 2015. You're celebrating 1 year. Mm-hmm. You're standing before everybody. You got your glass held up. What are you remembering that was accomplished during the past year?
It's going to be a good year.
Yeah.
We're going to look back and say we've come a long way in the last 12 months. And it's nothing compared to what's going to be going on in the next 6 years.
A lot could happen in 1 year, too. I mean,
a lot's going to happen. A lot will happen, and the economy's getting better around here. Yeah. We have things that we think are going to really, really benefit the consumer with a lot of our tools that are coming out. We just expect a lot of good things, and a lot of good things usually come through a lot of hard work.
So do you work with the Chamber and Economic Partnership as far as having like the heads up on businesses that are putting the feelers out, that kind of thing?
Well, I'm a member. I'm not involved with that level, but through Prudential and now, of course, through Berkshire, we do a lot of corporate relocation work. We're certified.
So you
we're
might know
trained
before
and
the
all
chamber.
When
It's possible.
sometimes not so much when a company comes in, but when there's corporate transferees going on, whether it's for the government, whether it's for local businesses, we do a lot of that work.
And that's really helpful when the quote unquote snowbirds come down, because they must want that second home, and they'll come to you, and you'll make it as easy as possible.
We
for
try
them to have two homes.
Yeah, we do. There's all niches within the business, and that's a specialized place because you want to know, those people are coming down, they have their own requirements. There's certain things that they're looking for, and you want to make sure that you can help them with whatever that specialty is, because it might be a second home. Is it financially feasible for them to have that? What we are expecting is to probably have our best best year for that market in many years, because the economy's changing. People are able to retire now that, maybe they put everything on hold for a few years while their stock portfolio rebounded, the value of their house rebounded. They kind of had to do a reset on a lot of things, and people are starting to make that move. So, and not as many second homes probably, but a lot more permanent retirement.
Just people moving here.
Oh, yeah.
Are people using the internet or technology, maybe an app or something, to browse?
The whole real estate marketing world is moving to the internet. It's really there. It's just a matter of degrees, how deep you get into it. But the only way to really drive your business in real estate today, as an agent, as a company, is you have to have a massive internet presence. To have a little website or something is just really not going to cut it. For information is
That makes
king,
sense.
right?
Yeah, sure.
So in today's world, we're not the quote-unquote salespeople of 40 years ago. We're consulting people, and the way you consult people is you give them all the information that they need to make a decision, and then you help them facilitate that decision.
In your credentials, it says something about the multi-list, the multiple listing services. Is that part of that? I mean, is that how that works?
Well, it is. The MLS systems are still proprietary to the local real estate places, but more and more, portions of that information is available through websites and various internet sites, and that's a big fight that's going on in the real estate world about how proprietary that information becomes or stays.
And since you're into the internet and into technology, two people might like the same home, and then you've got a bidding war going on. So how do you know who's first when they say, I want this house, and then another couple comes in and says, no, I want it?
Personally, I don't like multi-offer situations because somebody's always going to feel like they got the short end of the stick. But the way it works is, you put them in, and usually the seller, and most multi-offer situations are when you have bank-owned properties, to be honest with you.
Oh, okay.
You
Really?
have a lot of investors chasing that stuff, and really you just come back and say it's highest and best.
Bob, thank you for coming in. The time just flew. Do you want to give out some contact information for our listeners?
Sure. I mean, if you want to know anything about what we're doing, about our launch, you can give us a call at 622-9700. Our village's number is 391-5944. Visit our Facebook page. If you go to Ocala.com today, on the front page of the Ocala.com, you'll see a big ad for the launch
All
of
right.
Berkshire Hathaway. That'll give you a lot of blog information, a lot of Facebook information, and we're here to help.
All right. Well, thank you for coming in. I was surprised when I looked at the clock that it went so fast.
Really, and I didn't pass out or hyperventilate.
and the calls are coming in, but I know you said today we would skip the calls, so I know you have people wanting to have questions answered.
I would love to do that.
Just call you, and in the meantime,
call me in the meantime. I'd come back anytime with the ability just to talk to people about real estate. Love to do it.
All right, Bob. Nice to meet you. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you. Enjoyed it.
All right, it was fun. We'll take a little break. We'll be right back.
Today in Florida Ag News on the Southeast AgNet, eligible row crop farmers have many options to consider when applying for the new annual production history yield exclusion. Risk Management Agency Administrator Brandon Willis explains.
When this program is online here in a few months, they're going to want to sit down with their crop insurance agent, and they're going to want to look at the